What if I told you there is a secret world of tiny creatures with incredible powers beyond the realm of human imagination? When you realize the phenomenal abilities of these tiny little animals and what they're truly capable of, in comparison, we are just big, clumsy giants. I've devoted my life to unlocking the secrets of these miraculous mini monsters. I'm teaming up with a scientist friend, and we're going to the very edge of the world to find them.
Which way? He's in the bush. I got one.
Behind you, behind you.
Did you get it? He's got me. Looks like a dinosaur, straight up from the dawn of time.
That's the perfect killing machine right there. I'll show you, pound for pound, they stack up against any creature that ever roamed the earth. Fight that. Oh!
He destroyed my sensor.
This is in the realm of superheroes. Size does not matter, especially when you're a little giant. You can already just feel that gentle heat building up.
Yeah.
And it's barely sunrise. This is tough country with almost nothing to eat or drink.
I'm sure everything out here has to have incredible offensive and defensive capabilities. Otherwise, I don't think they could survive in this area.
Exactly. Just like the little guy that we're after, an armored, heavily weaponized freak of nature. We're in Western South Africa, scouring one of the world's most unique and harshest ecosystems, the Karoo, in search of one of the most extraordinary and toughest lizards on the planet, the armadillo girdled lizard. This majestic micro-dragon looks like a lost relic from the Jurassic Age because it is. It has thrived for millions and millions of years because it is perfectly adapted in this ecosystem. It has massive jaw muscles that can deliver a vicious, spine-shattering bite. But what really explains its dominance is its formidable defensive system. It is covered from head to tail in jagged, industrial-strength scales, providing bulletproof body armor. And if a large predator dares to attack this little giant, the lizard does something that is astonishing. It bites its own tail, forming an impenetrable circle of spiky scales that no one wants to mess with. Today, Billy and I want to put its remarkable traits to the test so that we have more concrete data to explain why the armadillo girdle lizard is a living, breathing fortress that has remained unconquered since the dawn of time. If I was an armadillo girdle lizard, rocks over there would be some upmarket residences.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. They shelter in these cooler crevices between rock formations and boulders, which act as a sanctuary, not only from this brain-boiling heat, but also from larger predators, especially raptors.
So, how are we capturing these guys?
We got to get them when they first come out into this morning sun before they get hot and fast. Because when you're cold-blooded, heat equals speed and power.
Which means we got to keep them to our speeds.
Yes. Well, your speed. My speed's even slower. We just got to get through this entire plateau and up to... Whoa, 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 whoa. 2 white rhinos. Holy
Gosh.
See how their horns have been taken off to help protect them from poachers? That's pretty common because they're critically endangered. These guys have very limited eyesight, but excellent hearing, excellent sense of smell as well. But, oh, they're up. At no point do we run, no matter what. We are not fast enough to evade that attack. We're looking at thousands of pounds of heavily armored and occasionally aggressive animal. It's pretty much equal in weight to a hippo.
Okay, so what's the procedure here?
Simplicity is the best plan here, and caution in every step. We're gonna go upwind, and we'll stay high side, and move right around the top. Give them plenty of room, keep our stink out of their nostrils, okay? Just imagine they're bears in armor.
Okay. I'm totally freaked out by everything you just said. For the record.
Southern white rhino is a formidable beast. that's what it takes to make it here in the Karoo. Oh, yeah. This is perfect. We've got a large cluster of boulders and there's many cracks and crevices for our little guys to hide in. Let's get on up and get busy. These lizards live in colonies, vaguely social groups. So I'm sure we'll find quite a few living in, under, and around these rocks. All right, you go right. I'll go left. And let's see if there are any hiding around here.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Molted scales. Oh, these are super hard. This is more like a tooth than a scale. Armadillo lizard scales. Good find. Where there's armadillo lizard scales, there's armadillo lizards. Let's get back to it.
That sun is intense. Sun is now out in full force, which means these lizards have every possible advantage. Its armored scales protect it from the blazing heat of the Karoo. Sun, like a tile on the space shuttle. This is evolution in action. For millions of years, this harsh environment beat species into submission. But the armadillo girdle lizard has adapted to thrive, basically living on a hot plate. Oh, what's that? Come on now. Hey, Billy, I found one. Look at him go.
Oh, I see it.
There's another one. Behind you.
Oh. You're quick.
Okay. Ah, lost him. They are so fast. I'm gonna try and stir up some trouble in these crevices. See if we can push out the back and come towards you, okay?
All right.
Set. Go. Okay.
Oh.
They're coming up.
Yeah, I see one. Bingo. Bradley. Did you get it?
Oh! God, it's got me.
He's really got me.
Bring the box.
I'm coming.
That is so painful.
Oh, man, he's got you.
Can we get him in the...
Yeah.
Oh! Look at that. Ooh, he broke the skin. I've had monkey bites that hurt less than this. If you've ever been bitten by an octopus or a big parrot, that big bite, it felt like that. It didn't care that I was 1,000 times its mass.
No way.
That's what I love about these little giants. Their presence, they carry themselves like a much bigger animal.
I'll say. But this guy's on a whole other level. Looks like a dragon, straight up from the dawn of time.
Look at those climbing hands, really spread out digits to get a hold of the crevices. That spiky armor from nose to tail.
Oh, yeah. Those scales gotta be hard as a rock.
And it's got obviously one heck of a bite. This is one of the most remarkable animals on the African continent.
We just got an up-close demonstration of the strength of the armadillo lizard's bite force when it took a chunk out of Bradley. But I need a more scientific reading, so we're gonna test how powerful and impenetrable this fortress of scales really is.
You see, Billy, you come to the edge of the world and you catch yourself a dragon. What do you want to do first?
Let's get some weight and length on this guy. Now that we've captured the armadillo girdled lizard, one look and you can tell it's got all these amazing, highly refined, adaptive survival skills that I can't wait to test. Just love his color. You can just tell he blends in perfectly with this environment.
Yeah, he does. He also sheds his scales on a fairly regular basis, and you can see that that natural process has resulted in varying degrees of coloration, which makes him even harder to see.
Okay, enough stargazing. Let's get some weight and length on this guy.
Are you ready?
Yep. He weighs 2.3 ounces.
Okay, lids off.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. 8¼ inches. All right. Why do you think he's just chilling right now? Why do you think he's not trying to bolt off?
he's not stupid. He's saving his energy. Part of the way he hunts things down is kind of an ambush tactic as well, and he just explodes onto his prey. So he's saving his energy for that big moment, planning his options before he makes the decision. He doesn't feel threatened by us. He doesn't see any point in wasting his energy. Look at him. He's measuring this up.
After seeing how hard this little dragon bit in your hand, he's really got me. I've got to test the bite force of this thing.
I bet you he's gonna have a phenomenal bite force, because look at the angle from the side of his jaws to the point of his head. Massive jaw muscles, tiny little bite force area. That design allows him to kill his prey with a single bite. They bite through bones like breadsticks. Now that's power.
So I've got the super sensitive flex force sensor, which measures pressure. We're gonna get the little dragon to bite down on this little circle part, so we'll get a reading to see how hard those chompers actually are. Come on, show us what you got.
All right, mate, careful now. He might race forward and souvenir part of your finger.
That's great.
Here we go. Nice and easy. Yes! Boom! That was money. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
He is not letting go. It's like a bulldog on a bone.
Check this out. Look at his spike. Look at that reading. 1.49 pounds per square inch. Now, for something that's only 2.3 ounces, that's 10 times its weight.
That's shocking. I mean, this guy has a whole lot of bite, but not a lot of lizard.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was the size of the biggest biter in the world. That bite force would be off the charts huge. Imagine if we scale the armadillo girdle lizard up to the size of a saltwater crocodile, who has the most powerful bite force measured today. The lizard's now more than 18,000 times his normal size. Now, let's say these two cunning reptiles went on a safe-cracking mission. The adult male crocodile could weigh up to 2,600 pounds and has a bite force of 3,700 psi, enough to easily shatter a large padlock made of hardened steel. But our scaled-up lizard has a bite force 10 times its body weight, which means he could chomp down at 26,000 psi, enough to totally wreck a 20 cubic foot safe made of fireproof steel. No doubt there'll be tears for the crocodile, because the armadillo girdle lizard will be making off with almost all of the loot.
Incredible.
With that kind of bone-crushing bite force, it's no wonder that this micro monster has been one of the most devastating predators on this planet for the last 200 million years. There are 90 different reptile species living in the Karoo, but they are far too reliant on specialist feeding habits. If they lose the particular insect or plant they like to eat, they die. But this little dragon, it eats anything it can get in its mouth, even far larger predators. All manner of spiders, many species of gecko, and even small mammals, particularly desert mice and a number of species of shrew.
You are one bad little creature. This guy has the jaws of death.
On offense, as a predator, it's unstoppable. But in terms of his defensive capabilities, look at that array of daggers on its skin. You won't find better body armor on any battlefield.
Let's test that next.
We established that this little guy, it has a bite force that puts saltwater crocodiles to shame. And that's why the armadillo girdle lizard is the perfect predator in this environment. On offense, as a predator, it's unstoppable. But in terms of his defensive capabilities, look at that array of daggers on its skin. You won't find better body armor on any battlefield. Every single one of this lizard's countless scales is made of keratin, which is what our finger and toenails are made of. In fact, that's what rhino horns are made of, and they are just as tough. They help it survive out in the wild, even against large carnivores, because they're super sharp, heat-resistant, and incredibly hard. I mean, it's literally an impregnable fortress.
I want to test that.
How are you going to do that?
This thing is a durometer. It measures the hardness of things. It's kind of a universally accepted measurement for the hardness of materials.
Oh, I like that.
So we're gonna use this guy to measure the hardness of the scales that I collected earlier today.
I love it. That's a great idea.
First things first, I want to find the hardness of some other things to compare the scales to.
Makes sense.
We're going to take the durometer reading from your skin, and then we're going to take readings from this rock, and then we'll do the same test on the scales. The hardness will range from 0 to 100, with 0 being the softest and 100 being as hard as a diamond.
Got it.
So you're going to press this down into your skin, hold it for a second, and then you're going to get a reading on here.
Okay. Can I just point out there's a spike under all this? That's what this thing is.
That little dull thing.
It is a nasty spike at the end of this, but thanks a lot. Fine. Okay, test number 1, human skin.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. 12.5.
12.5 out of 100. You're pretty soft, dude.
I didn't know science was so painful.
Let's do the rock next.
All right.
Bring that big boulder in here.
Gotcha.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Test number 2, rock hardness. 58.5. Much higher.
Okay. And finally, test number 3, the hardness of the scales.
Could these scales actually be harder than a rock? I doubt it.
And actually, let's put the scales on something flat.
Yeah. See what we can find.
And keep in mind, this durometer model does not test metal. So if we put the scales on a flat piece of metal, it will only test the hardness of the scales and not of the metal.
Got it. So let's use, or how about my knife? Let's test it on the knife blade. It's the flattest, smoothest surface we have.
Yeah, this should work.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Test number 3, hardness at scales. Ready? 86. That's amazing.
That's actually really impressive.
It is.
Especially when you consider a durometer reading of 100 is what you get with the world's hardest objects.
And
the lizard scale is pretty close to that. That's staggering.
I think what we established, calling this guy rock hard is a massive insult.
Oh, yeah.
He's closer to metal than he is to rock.
This guy is basically walking around wearing steel-plated armor.
To get better protection than this, you're talking about heavy plate armor, such as those used by giant tortoises and even giant clams, none of which would survive for very long out here.
Exactly.
Now that's some high-tech body armor that every modern army wished they had.
Oh! Did you see that?
Oh my gosh, you're the best little giant ever.
Wow.
So this is his defensive perimeter. We jokingly refer to this as his hate bagel. But basically, he bit his own tail. In doing so, all his jagged spurs have sat up. Very hard for a predator to get in there. And no matter what I do to him, if I roll him over, he will just adjust his position. Watch this. Boom.
Amazing.
What's interesting is that the scientific name for the armadillo girdle lizard is Ouroboros. And Ouroboros was the mythological serpent dragon that circled the entire planet, protecting the world of the living from the world of the dead. And I can see why they called it that. It prevents itself from being killed by biting its own tail.
That sounds epic. Now, of course, we can't test how much force is needed to pry open his encircled pose, because that might harm our little guy.
I agree with you 100%.
So we're gonna try to test the next best thing, which is to measure the constriction pressure being generated within that donut as it grips on tight.
All right, how are you gonna do that?
I took this little air pump off a blood pressure cuff, and I rigged it to this sensor. I'm hoping we can get him to wrap around this and squeeze it to get a reading.
Let's get our hug on.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna try and get him around and feed him his own tail. Okay, nice and still, nice and still.
Oh,
there we go, there we go.
He's got it.
Go! All right, he's squeezing.
Come on, little guy. Oh,
he's doing it.
Whoa, he is all over that thing.
What are the results?
We got a reading of 2.15 PSI.
Wow, that is insane. That's 15 times his mass of 2.3 ounces.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of power is due to fast twitch muscle fibers, the explosive muscle type that elite sprinters and weightlifters have. The lizard is able to recruit muscle fibers from the head, neck, trunk, and tail simultaneously, which in turn translates to devastating crushing power. That amount of force places this little squeezer into the top tier of constriction-capable animals, including the longest of them all, the reticulated python. Let's bulk up our armadillo girdle lizard from 2.3 ounces to 250 pounds, the average mass of an adult reticulated python. Now imagine if these two had to chop down trees using only their powers of constriction. The python's formidable constriction force would be able to splinter a 6-foot-tall redwood sapling with a diameter of 4 inches, making it keel over. But our armadillo lizard would easily crack a mature redwood over 60 feet tall with a diameter of 5 feet and send it crashing to the earth. He'd be the Paul Bunyan of the animal kingdom.
Now, that is impressive, but I got a feeling this guy is actually a lot stronger than that.
I think you're probably right. If he was trying to save his own life, I am confident that he could go a lot stronger than 2.15 PSI.
Couldn't agree with you more.
This has to be one of the most extraordinary defensive features I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Because he knows instinctively that if he goes into this posture, nothing can hurt him. This guy is amazing. He hasn't changed hardly at all for hundreds of millions of years because he's perfect.
Oh, yeah. That bite force is ridiculous. The scales are out of this world strong.
Coat of steel.
And that's not even talking about the awesome superpower this guy has as a defensive mechanism.
The death grip.
Oh, yeah.
So when he rolls up in that perfect circle of spikes, he is protecting his soft belly and presenting that impregnable and quite brutal-looking armor. I mean, he is built for exactly what he is, an indomitable predator. With that in mind, it's time to turn him back to his rocky throne so he can rule his kingdom with a steel fist.
Yeah.
Here we are. Welcome home, tough guy.
I love this guy.
He's everything I'd hoped he would be and more. Yeah, he might be small, but he carries himself like a true dragon.
I'm just glad he isn't one.
That would be very unpleasant.